My dear students, once again I welcome you all to my channel Abrar Sir classes. Today we'll be seeing some important problems on the chapter Newton's laws of motion. This is part 12 of the video. Kindly go through the previous videos also so that you can understand the problem very clearly. This is the first problem of part 12 of the video. Calculate tension in strings 1, 2 and 3. This is string 1. Okay. You are supposed to find tension here. Let me call this tension as T1. This is T2 string 2 and this is string 3. Okay. Tension in string 1 is T1, tension in string 2 is T2, tension in string 3 is T3. Now the weight is mg here. So I can write directly T3 is equal to mg. Now how to find T1 and T2? Let us use what? Lami's theorem. What is Lami's theorem? Lami's theorem. When three concurrent forces are acting at a point such that particle is in equilibrium, okay, and the particle is in equilibrium, then for example, if these are the three forces which are acting like this, F1, F2 and this is F3. These are the three forces which are acting at this point P. Okay. Let us say this is theta 1, this is theta 2, this is theta 2. When three concurrent forces are acting at a point such that particle is in equilibrium, then we can write Ef by sin theta is equal to constant. Please learn the concept so that you can understand the problems very clearly and do the problems very easily. Okay. Now here I can write F1 by sin theta 1 is equal to F2 by sin theta 2 and that is equal to F3 by sin theta. Observe the angles. Observe the forces. This is F1, F2 and F3. F1, okay, for F1 theta 1 is here. For F2 theta 2 is here. And for F3 theta 3 is here. Okay. Hope you have understood this. Okay. Now in the same way, these are the two angles which is given. Okay. Angle with the horizontal. Therefore, you also draw a horizontal line like this. If this is 60, this is alternate angle, 60 degree. If this is 30 degree, this is also 30 degree. Alternate angle, this is 30 degree. Now, okay, this will be how much? This is 90 degree. This is 90 degree. This whole angle is how much? Where is theta 1? Theta 1 is here. Okay, theta 1 divided by sine of, okay, how much is this angle? This angle is 90 plus 60 is how much? This whole angle is how much? 90 plus 60 is 150 degree. Okay, sine of 150 degree. That is equal to T2 divided by, where is T2? T2 is here. How much is this angle? 90 plus 30 is 120 degree. Sine of 120 degree. That is equal to T3 divided by, how much is this angle? 30, 60, 90. This will be 90 degree. Sine of 90 degree. Right. Okay. Now T1 divided by sine of, I can write this what? 90 plus of 60. That is equal to T2 divided by sine of 90 plus 30. That is equal to T3 by sine of 90 degree. Now, okay, how much is T1 divided by, how much is sine of 90 plus 60? Sine of 90 plus 60 is nothing but cos of 60 degree. Okay. T2 divided by, this will be, but because we know that sine of 90 degree plus theta is equal to what? Is equal to cos of theta. This is okay. T2 by cos of 30 degree, that is equal to T3 by sine 90 degree. How much is sine 90? T1. How much is cos 60? 1 by 2. How much is cos 30? Root 3 by 2. T3 by 1. Now calculate T1. T1 is equal to how much? T3 into 1 by 2. And T2 is equal to how much? T3 into root 3 by 2. Therefore, I can write T1 is equal to, how much is T3? T3 is, we know, T3 is equal to mg. Okay, I can write half of mg. Okay, T1 is half of mg. How much is T2 is equal to root 3 by 2 mg. Hope you understood this very clearly. We are using what? Lam's theorem to calculate tensions in the string 1, 2 and 3. T1 is the tension in string 1, T2 is the tension in string 2 and T3 is the string. Hope you understood. Now here I have written total angle, okay, like this, theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. Later you can split like this, okay. Sine of 115, 90 plus 60, in place of 120, 90 plus 30, and sine 90, you know, sine 90 is equal to 1. So this one, T1 by cos 60 degree, T2 by cos 30 degree, T3 by sine of 90 degree. Now you can simplify for T1 and T2. T1 we got half mg and T2 we got root 3 by 2 mg. Hope you understood this problem very clearly. Let us go for the next problem. Here there is one problem. A block of mass 10 kg. 10 kg means how much? How much is the weight? 10 into 10 is 100 Newton. Therefore, T1 you can write directly how much? 100 Newtons. Okay. But they are asking T2. Okay, anyway. Okay. Directly we will start applying Lam's theorem. T1 divided by sine of how much? This 60 plus 30 is 90. This will be how much? 90 degree. Okay. T1, okay, by sine of 90 degree. Very good. That is equal to T2 divided by, now if this is the angle given from horizontal, you also draw a horizontal line here. Okay. If this is 30 degree, alternate angle is 30 degree. If this is 60 degree, this will also 60 degree, alternate angles. Okay. Now how much is T2 will be, that is T2 divided by, how much is the angle for T2? This is 90 degree, right? This is 90 degree. Okay. T1 by sine of 90 degree. T2 divided by sine of, I can write 90 plus 30, right? 90 plus 30. That is equal to T3. This is not required, but still I am writing to make you understand. T3 is how much? Angle 90 sine of 90 plus of 60 degree. What you have to calculate? T2. How much is T1? 100. 100 divided by, right? 100 divided by 1. Okay. That is equal to T2 divided by sine 90 plus 30 degree is how much? Cos of 30 degree. Okay. T2 is equal to 100 into cos of 30 degree. T2 is equal to how much? 100 into root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2 is 50. T2 is equal to 50 root 3. What is the unit? Unit is newtons. Unit is newtons. Hope you have understood. Okay. In the previous problem also, Whatever the answer we got, it should be in newtons. Okay, newtons. T3 is directly mg newtons. Right. Okay. We will go to the next problem. Which is the correct answer here? 50 root 3 newtons is the right answer. T2. Okay. If they ask T3, that also you can calculate very easily. T3. Now next is, as shown in diagram, find tension in strings 1, 2 and 3. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3. Now here, out of the 3 forces, 2 forces are perpendicular. Okay. Now we can use what? Parallelogram law here. Okay. Instead of Lamy's theorem, we can use what? Parallelogram law. How it is like this? Let us say this is F1, this is F2. Okay, these two are perpendicular and this is F3. Okay, now here, when 2 forces out of 3 are perpendicular, okay, when 2 forces out of 3, that is F1, F2, F3, okay, 2 forces F1 and F2 are perpendicular, particle is in equilibrium, resultant force will be 0. Okay, how to write the resultant force? I can use this. Okay, complete the parallelogram like this. This is what F2, this is what F1, this is what F3. F1, F2, F3 are in same order. Okay, resultant force is 0. Okay, vector F1 plus vector F2 plus vector F3 is equal to what? 0. Okay, now see the directions here. Okay, F1, F2, F3 are in same order. Okay, resultant force is 0. Similarly, I can write the parallelogram like this. Okay, now this is T2, this is T3. T3 is how much? Weight is mg, capital Mg. And where T1 will be, complete the parallelogram. This is T3, this is T2. Okay, again T1 will be in same order like T2 and T3 like this. Okay, do not change the direction like this. Okay, same order. T1, T2 and T3 are in the same order. Like how F1, F2, F3 are in same order, here T1, T3 and T2 are in same order. Right. If this is 60 degree, it is making angle with the horizontal. So this will be also how much? 60 degree. Angle is 60 degree. Right. Angle is 60 degree. Now you know T3, you can calculate what? T1 and T2 by using this. Understood? This is how much? 60 degree. This is T3. T3 is how much? mg. T3 is equal to mg. Now you can use what? Tan of 60 degree. Tan of 60 degree you can use. That is opposite, that is perpendicular. T3 by what? T2. From here you can calculate T2 because already you know T3. T2 is equal to T3 by tan 60 degree. T2 is equal to T3 is how much? mg divided by tan 60 is root 3. Okay, Newton. T2. Okay. Now to calculate this T1, you can use what? Cos of 60 degree. Cos of 60 degree is equal to tan, you know. Tan was what? Perpendicular by base. Opposite by adjacent. Okay. T3 by T2. Similarly, for cos of 60 degree, you know what is cos theta is equal to adjacent by hypotenuse, which is adjacent, that is T2, that is base. T2 by hypotenuse, which one? T1. From here you can calculate T1 is equal to T2 by cos of 60 degree. Then how much is T1? T1 is equal to, already you know, T2. Right, that is T2 is how much? mg by root 3. Cos of 60 is 1 by 2. That is T1 is equal to 2 by root 3 into mg. Okay. Or else you can use what? Sin of 60 degree also you can use. How much is sin of 60 degree is equal to? Opposite by hypotenuse. Opposite is what? That is perpendicular divided by T1. From here also we get the same answer. Okay, that is T1 is equal to T3 by sin of 60 degree. T1 is equal to, how much is T3? We know T3 is equal to mg directly. Okay, T3 is equal to mg. I can write T3 is equal to mg here. Okay, that is good. Mg by sin of 60 degrees root 3 by 2. That is equal to T1 is equal to 2 by root 3 into mg. You get the same answer. Hope you understood. Use this parallelogram law technique to understand. Okay, you have to understand this parallelogram law technique to calculate tension in the string. Okay, provided two forces should be perpendicular. Let us go to the next problem. And here we calculate T1, T2, T3 is equal to what? Directly mg. Okay, these three forces, because they are asking us three tensions in the strings 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Now let us calculate this one. Determine the tensions T1 and T2. Again the same. Okay, these two are in perpendicular. Okay, this is 40 into 10 is 40 Newton. Okay, let me call this as T3. T3 is equal to how much? Directly 40 newtons. Now you have to calculate what? T1 and T2. Now complete the parallelogram. This is T3 is downwards, T2 is leftwards. Okay, and where is T1? This is T2. Orders of T1, T2 and T3 should be same. Okay, angle is given with the horizontal. With the horizontal, it is 60 degree. Okay, that is 60 degree is given. Now this is T3. Okay, now use what? Tan 60 degree. Tan 60 degree is equal to T3, you know, that is 40 newtons. Okay, 40 newtons, that is equal to 40. Tan 60 is perpendicular by base, that is T3 by T2. From here you can calculate T2. T2 is equal to T3 by tan 60 degree. That is equal to T3 is how much? 40 by root 3. 40 by tan 60 is root 3. 40 by root 3 newtons. Okay. Now let us calculate T1. How to calculate T1? Either use sin 60 or cos. Sin 60 I use. Sin 60 is equal to opposite, that is perpendicular by hypotenuse. T3 by T1. From here you can calculate T1. T1 is equal to T3 by sin of 60 degree. How much is T3? 40 divided sin 60 is how much? Root 3 by 2. T1 is equal to 2 into 40 is 80 by root 3 newtons is the right answer. T1 is so much? T2 how much we got? T2 is equal to 40 by root 3 newtons, and T3 is calculated here. T3 is 40 newton. Hope you understood this. Let us go to the next problem. Here, determine the tension T4 in the string. First, you observe this one. Okay, these two forces are perpendicular. I can use what? Parallelogram law here. That is 10 into 10 is how much? 100 newton. 100 newtons. Now, okay, I will complete the parallelogram here. This is T1. Okay, this is weight, and this is T2. Weight, I will write what? 100 newtons. This is T1. This is 100 newtons. This is T1, and now T2 is okay. The same, all these three vectors are in the same order. Okay. Angle is given. Okay. Angle is given with what? Angle is given with vertical. This is 30 degrees. This is very, very important. This is 30 degrees given. Angle is given with vertical here 30 degree. Okay, that we are writing here 30 degree. Okay, first we calculate T2. How to calculate T2? T2 can be calculated as cos of 30 degree. Okay, adjacent by hypotenuse. This is perpendicular by hypotenuse. 100 by T2. 100 by T2. Therefore, T2 is equal to what? 100 by cos of 30 degree. That is equal to 100 divided by cos of 30 is root 3 by 2. That is equal to 200 by root 3. Okay. T2 is equal to how much? 200 by root 3 newtons. But now what you have to calculate? You have to calculate T4. Okay. Now I will use what? Lam's theorem now. This is okay. This is T3, this is T4, and this is T2. Okay, this is T2. Now, what is the angle here? If this is T3, okay, this is how much? 90 degree. This is 90 degree. Okay. Now this is 30 degree. This will be how much? This will be 30 degree. Vertically opposite angle. This is 90 degree. This is 30 degree. So I can write this as what? T3 by sine of 120 degree. Okay. For T2, what I can write? This is 60 degree, and this is how much? 90 degree. Observe this clearly. Okay, 90 degree. This is 60 degree. This is 90 degree. T2 by, or what I can write? T2 by Lam's theorem I can write. This is by what? By parallelogram law. Okay, I found what? T2. Now this is by Lam's theorem. By Lam's theorem. Okay. T2 by what? T2 by, this is sine of how much? T2 is this angle. Okay, T2 this angle. Okay, that is sine of 90 plus 60. Hope you are following. Okay, T2 by sine of this angle, that is 90 plus 60. Now that is equal to T3 divided by how much is this angle? Okay, this angle is sine of, that is 90 plus 30 degree. 90 plus 30 degree. That is equal to, and T4 by how much is this angle? How much is this angle? Okay, these are vertically opposite angle. This is 30 degree, this is 60 degree. Okay, this is 60 degree. that is T4 by sine of 60 degree. Now we'll equate first term and the last term. Okay, because we know T2 divided by sine 90 plus its cos of 60 degree, that is equal to T4 by sine of 60 degree. Therefore T4 is equal to, I can write what, sine of 60 degree, T4 is equal to sine of 60 into T2 by cos of 60 degree. Okay, I can substitute sine 60 degree, cos 60 degree, or I can write tan 60 degree. Okay, T4 is equal to tan 60 degree into what? Into T2 is how much? 200 by root 3 newtons. T4 is equal to, how much is tan 60 degree? Root 3 into 200 by root 3. Again, this is going to come 200 newtons. Okay, T4 is how much? 200 newtons is the right answer. Hope you have understood this T4. Okay, first it is, because this is a complicated problem. Okay, now to make this simple, we have to use first parallelogram law, because these two forces are perpendicular. Calculate T2. Once if you calculate T2, it is easy to calculate either T3 or T4. Now we have to use Leibniz theorem. Here you have to be careful while writing the angles. T2 divided by how much? T2 divided by sine of, see the angle here, how much? 90 plus 60. Okay, for T3 how much? 90 plus 30 degree. And for T4 how much is the angle? 60 degree. Okay, that I have written here. Students, hope you understood these problems. If you like this video, kindly share with your friends. Ask doubts in the comment box. Do not forget to subscribe for my channel and kindly like the video. And I wish you all the best for your KCET, NEET and IIT JEE examinations. Thanks for watching this video.